Introduction. I'm sorry Peggy isn't here tonight. I like her to hear those. Many Americans, many members of the Congress would like to isolate our country, forget our allies, forget our obligations around this world, and try to become, as we tried to during the days of my youth, an isolated, separated country, separated from the rest of the world. If they had their way, there wouldn't be any Fort Ruckers, there wouldn't be any military academies, there wouldn't be any Luke Air Force bases, or Air University, as they say, could be better placed someplace else. That might be true. But I ask these people, what good would it do to have the widest roads, to have everybody in school, regardless of race, creed, or color, to solve all of our domestic slaves? And I think if Americans could only come to realize that the money we spend in keeping ourselves strong is the money we spend to see that we can enjoy freedom. And to me, this is the only reason for an American being alive, is to keep the freedom of our country, and through keeping the freedom of our country, help keep the freedom of the world and to keep peace.
Well, they're already on file about 4 contests, and there's some indications that there will be others. I think on the whole we've had a very smooth election, considering the fact that we have completely new districts all over the state, and all 105 House districts, all 35 Senate districts, all 105 state committee districts, and all 18 convention districts are all completely new to the people, and that's this confusion that comes about by reason of new districts is the type of thing that usually generates problems. We have a few, but on the whole we've had a very smooth election. I'm quite pleased with it.
Vote, isn't that right?
Well, the one vote race is for a place in the runoff. It isn't the winner. It's a question of who's going to be.
Indeed, I would go so far as to say that the more problems you have, the more alive you are. The individual who has, let's say, 10 good old tough man-sized problems is twice as alive as the poor, miserable, apathetic character who only has 5 problems. Well, I sometimes wonder what's come over this country. This This country was established by a great breed of people that had problems, and they had them aplenty. But did they whine and whimper and crawl through life on their hands and knees, piteously holding up their hands to some so-called benevolent government, asking that they be taken care of? Not on your life. They took care of themselves, and they built the greatest economy in the history of mankind.
And your thoughts and your best wishes for me, because I heard from so many of you. And so to those who visit our state today, to Dr. Levi Watkins, who has contributed actively to education in Alabama, and all of you members of the faculty and the student body, let me say God bless every one of you, and to tell you that during the next 4 years, you can look forward to seeing that Alabama State University acquires its share of the Alabama revenues to provide better opportunities for all of those in our state who wish to come to this great institution. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
That was a simple clerical problem. The tabulation that had been done at Pickens County had omitted one box, and the county chairman and the probate judge got together and got a completely straight tabulation with a certificate that had been corrected, and we were able to make that correction prior to the tabulation.
Are there any other boxes contested or yet to come in?
This includes a tabulation of all boxes in the state. Now, there may be some contested boxes, yes. I've heard reports of contested boxes in particular races, but those will have to be handled under the contest procedure rather than under the tabulation procedure.
Strained very hard in 1972, and I paid a pretty fearful price for straining in 1972. And if they can't take that message and they don't understand it, the leadership of the party, which I believe they do, then I'm not going to strain, because then it would be no use.
What is your reaction to the transcripts that President Nixon has turned over to Congress?
Well, I don't want to comment on the transcript. I haven't commented much on Watergate for the simple reason that it came out in during the hearings, that a great amount of money was sent into Alabama to defeat me in 1970, and as a consequence, I thought maybe that my remarks might sound prejudicial, and for that reason, since I was affected in that manner, I just haven't commented. I am sorry that Watergate has occurred because of the country. I would have hoped that any man who was elected president, whether it be McGovern or Humphrey or anyone else that ever ran, would have a successful administration in order that the people of our country might enjoy domestic tranquility and peace abroad. And so, naturally, I'm sorry that any president is having the problem that Mr. Nixon's having, because it's not good for our country.
Based on what's been made public right now in the transcripts and, of course, the continuous investigation in Washington, do you feel like the president is going to be removed?
I do not know. I cannot answer that question. I'm not in Washington. All I know is what I read in the paper, and that'll have to be determined by those in Washington. And as to whether he resigns or not, that's a matter for the president As for the impeachment matter, that's for the House. For if he is impeached, then it's a matter for the Senate. As I said a moment ago, it was pointed out about the money being sent down here in 1970 against me, and therefore I would just like not to make any comment because it may sound prejudicial.
Well, I really don't know. I don't think you could point to any one thing. I think probably maybe not answering some of the charges that were made by one particular newspaper in the state during the campaign. Perhaps that was a mistake, but if I had to go over with, I doubt that I would have answered the charges, even though they were completely false.
House Speaker Sage Lyons commented that, or quoted as saying that the 62% cast was, for the other candidates, including Mr. Woods, was a 62% anti-Beasley vote. Do you share that?
No, I don't. For this reason, the anti-vote could be considered against Mr. Woods just as easily as against me, because I think he probably got most of the votes he's going to get in the first primary. And of course, there were 55% of the people in Alabama who were registered who didn't even come out to vote last Tuesday. So I think this is going to be important in the runoff, is who actually gets the vote out that didn't come out in the first primary. I think this had an effect on the election.
I don't know that I've ever said if I wasn't treated fairly by the Democratic Party that I would consider a third party. What I have said, and I don't know how it's been interpreted, I don't know how it's been taken down, but many writers have interviewed me nationally and otherwise. I said that at the mini convention that takes place at the end of this year, that if the New Left takes over, as they did in 1972, it's not going to be good for the Democratic Party. But I don't believe that's going to be the case. And I believe I said that in my judgment, if that happened, there would be the possibility of a new party. But I did not mean to say that I would organize a new party.
Senator Edward Kennedy has stated that he would like to be president, but he could not support a ticket with George Wallace's name on it. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I believe he said he couldn't at the present time, and I will accept his word for it.
Could you support the ticket with Kennedy's name on it?
I don't know what I could support in the future. It would all depend upon the viewpoint the candidates took, and also would be what kind of platform the candidates were running on. I still say that if the Democratic Party does not have a platform and a candidate who's in the middle, that it will have a hard sailing in 1976.
You looking forward to the mini convention this year?
No, I'm not looking forward to the mini convention at all. I'm automatically a delegate by virtue, I believe, of the rules, but I'm not looking forward to it because I think maybe it's a mistake to have a mini convention in 1974.
Bob, I'm sure that in every department that there was people choosing up sides, that they were helping. Sometimes they helped my opponent, sometimes they helped me. But as to having any assistant attorney generals per se helping me, no, I did not have any follow me around helping me, and I did not know of any who were following Mr. Beasley around. I think he was just, you might say, fleeing where no man was pursuing.
Well, I know one thing for sure, that converter that they're talking about putting on the car is going to cost the plant at least $150 to them from the plant. So we know by the time all the price increases get down to us, it's going to be at least a $300 or $400 price increase on all the 75-mile cars.
Well, George, of course, anything I might say in that regard is purely a guess because we've had no specific information from General Motors, but I think perhaps the consensus of opinion is somewhere around a $300 price increase on the 75 models.
And what are the factors that would contribute to such a price increase?
I'd say perhaps the basic factor is the introduction of the catalytic muffler system on almost all 75 models.
Oh yes, the government has required all of the automobile manufacturers to install new pollution control devices on their 1975 models. This will be in the form of a catalytic converter system that will filter out some of the undesirable pollutions that have gone into the air in the past. This also will be a major contributing factor toward price increases on the 75 model cars. The catalytic converter will cost approximately $150.
Thank you very much, Charles. Members of the Kiwanis Club, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. And when I first came in and saw the TV cameras being set up, I got scared and almost left. I've got to And if you examine our tax laws, and this, of course, is true of all states, not just Alabama, but if you examine the tax laws, as well as most of the other statutes, you'll find that they are a hodgepodge, that they've been put together from time to time because of a crisis, and not because of any long-range planning. This is true not only of the tax laws, but it's true of the public agencies that we have created. We have a lot of overlapping. We have in some cases top-heavy administrations, and this is due to simply having put it together from time to time without any long-range thought. The LEPA, during the last session of the Alabama legislature, actually paid the salary of 2 full-time lobbyists to lobby the legislature for a better pay for law enforcement officers in the state. So you have the unique situation of mining your tax money being used to hire lobbyists to lobby mining your legislature, you see. So they got us on both sides of the question or issue.